Hello,
Welcome to Liberty Ladies Unite. I'm Natalie.
I'm Rebecca.
We're your Liberty Ladies, and we unite.
Night.
Yes.
So it's been a busy week, hasn't it?
Oh, busy weekend. Last week was, oh my God. Has it really only been a few days since the Pretender took the White House?
Yes, the Siege of America, as I've coined the phrase.
The steal.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're only a few days into that, and already it's like, wow, how fast can you tear down the fabric of our country? He's going for the world record. He's going for the gold, apparently.
He is. I mean, literally, he had, just as I predicted, he had a pile of executive orders
He sure did.
on hot standby, ready to go on the very day he got inaugurated.
Indeed. And you know what's interesting is all of those executive orders were pre-typed up. Usually most
I bet
presidents
he didn't
don't
even know what was
sign.
in most of them.
Oh, he probably didn't.
No.
Yeah, he probably didn't. But yeah, someone or someones went through a painstaking amount of time to type those up for him and have him ready to go.
Oh, I think they've been
So,
ready to go probably for weeks.
oh yes, I'm sure they have. So yeah, a lot to talk about today. We've got that, probably some more mask mania as usual. I've got more lockdown lunacy. Maybe
All
I should call
right.
it the lockdown loony bin, because that's kind of what they are. And
I
New
like that.
Mexico, we even made it onto the Dan Bongino show today. So we're
It's
talking
about
about
time. You know, one thing that has really drove me crazy over the past several months is all they talk about is Governor Whitmer and the idiot out in California and
in
New.
New York.
But it's like New Mexico just gets ignored. Like we've probably got one of the most oppressive governors in the entire country.
Well, we do, and people are starting to take notice outside of New Mexico, of course. You know, New Mexico, we know this. We know she's crazy. We know she doesn't really mean us well and would, just rather use us in her bid for a White House appointment. But people out there, they're like, little New Mexico, can anything good come from there? You know, like Nazareth. It's like, yeah, no, not really much good comes from here. Well, that's
Yeah.
why they detonated a bomb in our backyard.
Yeah. I think they pretty much ignore us.
Probably.
So, did you see that they had a little march up in Santa Fe today that they put
Oh,
together?
they did. Who
Yeah,
did?
a lot of our friends were up there. I know Audrey and
Yes.
Marcy and Tamara were up there. A whole bunch of other people,
Mm-hmm.
and I know Audrey was streaming them marching around the city and protesting the I think it's SB 10, where basically
Ooh.
in this state they just want to be able to kill babies whenever they want.
Yep. Yep. I saw that. It's like, oh, what else is new? So what? You want to have women go into hospitals, give birth to their children, and then as soon as they come out, congratulations, it's a girl. So you've got some options here.
Right.
We can go ahead and clamp and cut the umbilical cord and give him a bath and do all that. Or, we can just go ahead and make him comfortable while we, I don't know, maybe how would they do it at that point? Would they
Maybe
just take
euthanize them like
scissors?
a sick dog or cat, maybe
Yeah.
something like
Well, it's
that.
like, well, do you want us to euthanize them so it's nice and painless, or would you rather we take scissors and just cut the spinal cord?
Yeah, yeah,
Good Lord, can you
yeah.
imagine how traumatized birth mothers would be? Oh my gosh.
That is how sick this world is getting.
Yeah, yeah, because you know that people would say, "Oh, that's crazy talk." It would only be if the mom asked for it. Oh, no, 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 no. You just watch. You just watch. Pretty soon, if this Bill 10 passes, well, you have to, if the mom wants to abort and decides after the baby's born, you have to honor that. Okay, sure. But then after that, betcha they're going to have another bill saying that you need to make sure that all women are educated about all of their choices all the time. What
Natalie,
does that mean? Every time I go in for my wellness checkup when I'm pregnant, that they're going to say, "Oh, and but by the way, baby's good, heart rate's strong, and it's still not too late to do an abortion." What?
Right. Natalie, I really hate it when you sound like you're right.
I know yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
In this case, I
Yeah.
hate it. But no, if you look at the progression of every single thing that they have done, what was the what you would remember? What was the motto back when Roe v. Wade was first passed? I should say when it first passed the judicial arm of legislation. Now that it was safe, safe, sane, or safe, affordable, and rare. We want abortions to be safe, affordable, and rare.
Right.
Oh, are they so rare right now? Really? Are they so rare?
No, not really
Unless
at all.
lest we forget, Margaret Sanger. Oh,
I remember when I was a teenager, a kid, when I was just getting old enough to understand these things actually went on. How it was absolutely a disgrace for you to even consider something like this. It would be an embarrassment, and now they're proud of it. Yeah.
See, now before it was, oh, we'll keep it quiet, we'll keep on the down low. Now it's like, oh no, shout your abortion, share it for the whole world.
That's right. I had an abortion. Aren't you proud of me?
No.
Yeah. No, you're a
I'm really
disgusting
sad
human
for
being.
you.
Yeah.
I'm really sad.
Yeah.
And lest we all forget, Margaret Sanger was the biggest racist biatch of them all.
Oh yeah, and
what's
for
sad
those
is
that don't
she's
know,
gone.
she was such a racist. Her goal basically was to wipe out black people. I mean, she was if she had the military strength and stuff like that, she would just be another Adolf.
Oh my gosh, right? Well, looks like we've got some people in the house already. Hi, Diane. Yes, he is so weak, and yes. Well, thank you for doing the beep 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 part. Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep. Well, you know what? We didn't. We've talked about the ridiculous, pathetic inauguration on our radio show on Saturday, but we didn't talk about it on here yet. So for those of us that are just pretty much on here and haven't listened to us on the radio yet, which I suggest you do because you can listen no matter where you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we'll tell you how to do that. But why don't we go ahead and talk about that again? You want to? Because we've had a few new thoughts since Saturday.
Absolutely. Hey, David. Yes. Things
David.
have gotten freaking crazy. I have an entire bookmark folder titled Inane Inauguration. It was just, and there was a video. Ooh, let me see if I can find it. There was a video that someone from, was it Breitbart, I think? He took this video saying what the inauguration really looked like. And it was, what the fake inauguration actually looked like from a distance. Because I don't know if people realize that the news media weren't even on site. They were not there within the same acre. They were way across the lawn, across the street at an entirely different building, having to use like telephoto lenses, and then I guess they had the sound piped in or what have you. But they were relegated way far away as well. Not kidding. This was wild. But one of the, I think, what was his name? I forget his name. Yeah, one of the guys who was there with either Breitbart or someone else, one of the more conservative, he went ahead and gave you the full holistic view of just what it looked like, and it was eerie. Well, here I will let you all.
Yeah, let's see it.
You all see it here because you got to see this. It was just, this is unprecedented. Having an inauguration this empty, this locked down, this guarded, wow, I don't ever remember
And
ever seeing anything like this.
remember when Trump was inaugurated and the entire plaza there was packed full of people that came to watch, and how they were making fun of the numbers? Like, oh, there weren't that many people there. Oh God, there couldn't have been more than a couple 100,000 people there, you know?
Right.
And they were making fun of that. And here Biden has pretty much nobody.
Yeah.
And they're not saying anything about that.
Oh no, not at all. So here it is.
Hey guys, we're here at the inauguration. It's the most bizarre scene you ever saw in your life. There's like 100 people at the Biden inauguration.
I haven't seen this yet. This is
And
it's
it's
bizarre.
dystopian.
Look at that.
So there's nobody here.
Yeah.
There's like more people up here with the press.
There were like about a
overlooking the
million, I
Capitol than
think,
there are at the
at Donald
inauguration.
Trump's
I
inauguration.
think there
We're
was.
here with
Yeah.
Fox News and CNN and
And
this
not
guy great.
quite a
This
million,
guy
but
Eric is great
over
from
half a
TBN. He's a
million
Middle East
at
correspondent.
Barack Obama's.
Really great coverage.
And the news people
you
are
know,
like a mile away with telescopic
So,
lenses.
Again,
Yeah.
it's freezing here. It's like 25
It's
degrees.
crazy.
It's snowing.
The inauguration. Nobody
Kamala
did.
Harris and Amy Klobuchar just spoke. There are more people at the West Palm Beach airport
Yes.
waiting for Trump than there are here at the inauguration.
Probably more people at the West Palm
Truly
Beach airport waiting
incredible
to use the bathroom than there.
Time in our
Right.
history. You know, I've been to past inaugurations for W and Trump. You know, there were 500,000 to 1 million people at each event, and even Obama got close
Look
to
at that.
probably 700,000 or something like that. It's eerie,
Such a scary sight to see.
you know.
It is.
It's the first time Biden got thousands of people to his event, but they're all National Guardsmen who are forced to be here.
I love that.
There is no
Yeah.
security threat down here.
Volunteer. A
It's
captive
just a
audience.
lie. And I think they brought in these 25,000 troops because Biden couldn't get enough people to his inauguration, and it's a cover. It's very sad.
Yes.
Um,
You know, there is that. There is that. I thought about that later. I'm like, how bad would it have looked if Biden had his inauguration and they couldn't fill the lawn?
Oh, and you know, I made that suggestion the other day on our radio show. I was talking about, you know, the whole thing with the military and pretending that there was like this huge threat and everything like that was
Right.
all in the effort to not have to show how few people would have showed up, if anybody.
Right.
And
I mean,
it
that
would have been so obvious.
That could be kind of maybe a side effect. Who
Uh,
knows? But
yeah.
yeah, it's like, okay, Biden in the basement. And you heard too that over the weekend they put a lid on the president as well. They called for a lid, meaning that no, the president's not going to make any more appearances until next week. Yeah, thanks, Diana. But the troops, well, we're not actually sure. I saw that video. We're not actually sure if that video was in the presidential motorcade or if it was in or close to the president's as well. No one actually says in that video if that was right before the president passed by or after. We're not sure exactly who took the video.
Here's another thing I saw too. Now, I don't talk about things like this on our radio show because I try to avoid things that could possibly be fake, you know.
Yes.
But I'm going to say it could be fake. But there was something about beach something broadcasting. Some woman, she uses a lot of props and stuff on her things, but she was showing like when he was signing his executive orders and zoomed in the window back behind the desk, and it looked like Donald Trump was standing back there in the parking lot behind. And from what she said, there's not a parking lot outside that window. And so the suggestion was made. Now, this is something which I think is highly probable. Okay, you know how Hollywood is like in the pocket for communism, socialism, and they always have been, and the left-wing news media, they'll lie, they'll do anything they can. Okay, think about the possibility that during Biden, while he's in the White House, you notice I'm not going to call him the P word. Okay, I refuse that. Joe, as long as Joe is in the White House, we do not know whether or not a bunch of Hollywood magic is going on.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we could put Joe on the surface of the moon and it would look real. You know, with today's Hollywood magic available.
Yeah, and the thing with the troops, so I have some people in my life, actually several family members, and yes, David, the national groups, it was actually 5,000 National Guard troops sleeping in the parking garage. It was one unit of 5,000 that got relegated to the parking garage.
And from what I understand on that story is a lot of them had already been sent home because they were recalled by their governors because of how badly they were being treated.
Yeah.
And so they were recalled by them, but there were still about 5,000 of them there that hadn't managed to pack up their stuff and be able to be shipped out yet.
Yeah.
But this is what the Democrats have always thought about the military. They've always loathed the military.
And they used them. They used them here, and I've been keeping a close eye on this because I have good friends who are in the military still right now. And there's one thing that pretty much the consensus among all of them: when you're in the military and you're active and you're on duty, you don't step out of line. So, in other words, in entire companies deciding to turn their back on the president, if that was in the president's motorcade, there would have been a good reason for it, such as, some of them were facing in, some of them were facing out for potential threats. So that there would have been a specific reason for that. As far as the flimsy reason for why 5,000 of them got relegated to the parking garage, that's totally flimsy. I really have a hard time believing it. And here was the reasoning. One senator, I believe, or representative, a Democrat, of course, I think Keaton or Yeaton was his name, said, "Oh, well, I saw a guardsman in a Dunkin' Donuts without his mask on." And when I asked him why, when he asked him why, the guardsman supposedly said, "I appreciate my freedoms." Now, here's the issue. If the mask is now considered part of their uniform, the face mask, meaning it's not an option like a shamag or a scarf might be in some cases. It's not an option. It's a part of your uniform. It's a requirement. People in the military make a big deal about, or consider it a big deal to be what's called squared away, meaning all parts of their uniform are in line with whatever the uniform code is at all times.
What uniform do you not understand?
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with this, you don't realize they will obsess over a quarter of an inch if their nameplate or name tag is off. Nope, it has to be right there. Yeah. If you've got honors, etc., they have to be right there down to the millimeter.
And Mark has had a lot of military service, and he said that's absolutely correct.
Yes. So I have a hard time believing, especially in Washington, D.C., if they have been told, and it doesn't so much matter what the mayor says, and I'll get into something interesting about that, but if they've already been told you need to have your masks on in public spaces at all times, and even in private spaces potentially, then they're going to do that. They're going to have their mask on because they would consider it being out of uniform to not. Now, here's the second thing. Giving lip to a person of Congress, and don't think that they can't tell who the congressional weenies are. And it is very much a congressional weenie thing. Ooh, interesting map. San Francisco.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to show that yet.
Oh, yeah, it pops up right away.
Okay.
So these people are incredibly perceptive. If someone takes them to task over, "Oh, where's your mask?" they can tell if it's the suburbanite mom from up the block or if it's somewhere more high powered who's used to getting their way and telling people what to do. And I find it extremely hard to believe that any one of the guardsmen or women would mouth off to a congressperson that way, especially when you're in the heart of DC and you are on federal grounds. You're likely to, there's congressmen and women all around you. I find it
I think it's unlikely.
incredibly unlikely that they would do that. Not that there wouldn't be an exception out there, not that most of them wouldn't want to.
There's probably a lot of them that are thinking that, but it's like, okay, we got to do this because
Yes.
it's our duty and it's orders. So,
And that is the thing, is that when they are on duty, they're on duty. It is really hard to find anyone more professional than on-duty military men and women.
mm-hmm.
They are some of the most professional, by the book, and respectful people that you will ever meet. So I really find that the flimsiest of excuses. And then supposedly when the crybaby Democrat told this to the Capitol Police, supposedly they made the decision, oh, we got to get them out of that Senate building. Yeah. As David puts it here, when you're in uniform and on duty, you keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You don't have an opinion. You do not have an opinion.
But you know what, Natalie? It's all okay, because when Biden found out about that, they sent them some cookies.
Oh, yeah. They sent Dr. Jill down with a basket full of cookies in a situation that was such a photo op. Because did she go down to the garage? No. No. I really liked the video of, what's his name? The paraplegic congressman.
Trump would have gone down there personally.
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
Trump, they wouldn't have been down there if Trump was president, because Trump actually offered them the use of his DC hotel.
Right. There's videos of Schumer passing by them after they'd been taken off the, garage duty and back up in the halls of Congress. And he's just kind of looking around at these men and women sleeping in the halls of Congress going, we got to wake these people up. And then he realizes he's on camera. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll get to the heart of this. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It's like, really now? And at first he was kind of looking at them like, what an eyesore. I think that's why that unit was sent out of one of the Senate buildings, because it was a Senate building that they were resting in and taking their breaks in, and then were told to evacuate. And I think that's why is the Senate had decided, no, we're going to get back to business, and we want the eyesores out of here.
Right.
So, and they didn't even think where to put them. And a good number of them did spend the night overnight in the parking garage. It wasn't just like they were there for a few minutes or an hour. This was serious. And not, again, that our men and women aren't capable in the military of handling a 38-degree weather and bunking down on the cold concrete. They're made of pretty stern stuff and they train hard. But it was unnecessary to put them through that, and it's completely indicative of how the Democrats and the Democrats, I like to call them, how they think that everything around them is so disposable. Oh, yes, we want 25,000 strong for a show of force and a show of power, and that, yes, we love our men and women, but then, oh, we need the Senate building. Shoo, shoo. And
well, you know what it's proof of, Natalie, is that, we're always saying that the Democrats only care about power. Okay. Yeah. And this is the day one where they're just really, really just
huge
really, really
PR snafu.
muscles and saying, look what we can do. And just
huge PR snafu. Yeah, and I like that, Diane. Yeah, he would have gotten lost looking. But of course, mainstream media, this has been almost nowhere to be found on mainstream media. If they did, if it is on mainstream media, they tend to blame the Capitol Police. The Capitol Hill Police. Okay, even though Capitol Hill Police has been like, it wasn't us. And if it was, we'll find them. They haven't found anybody.
Natalie, be
so
sure you
far.
save that clip that you showed of the
Oh,
the
yeah.
inauguration.
I'm
We
gonna
need
put
to,
that.
since we have video on our radio show now, we should show that.
Yeah, and I'm also going to put this in. So if you guys ever go to the links on our Rumble account, I usually try to put in all the links that we share during our live cast. So you can go and you can look it up yourself. You know, don't believe us. It's out there.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely out there.
So let's take a moment and tell everybody all the ways that they can watch us and hear us now on Saturdays. We're on our radio show, regardless of where you are in the country, because I know we've got people that have been coming in from all over the place and watching, which is awesome. So on Saturdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're on the Rock of Talk, KIVA. If you're local, you can listen to it on 1600 AM. You can also listen to it on the Rock of Talk app on your phone. You can go to rockoftalk.com and listen to the audio on your computer from wherever you are. And the newest thing is we're on TV now. So you can go to rockoftalk.tv on your computer and you can actually see us as well as hear us. Or what's really cool is you can actually put Rock of Talk on your Roku. If you have Roku, you can search for Rock of Talk, and they've got an app for Rock of Talk, and you can watch on your TV, which is so neat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Lots of options, lots of ways to stay in touch, which we'll probably need in the near future.
Yeah.
So, one other thing with the whole National Guard fiasco, of course, Trump came to the rescue and said, "You all could stay in my hotel."
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, look at that. And already bailing Biden out of a political nightmare.
Well, like I was pointing out on our radio show, I would remember watching the RNC convention and watching the final night of the RNC convention and the amazing, classy thing that, you know, what are you going to call it? Extravaganza? I don't know. There's a lot of names that you can call it that he put on for the final night of the RNC convention. Opera singers, dueling opera singers, which was so cool, and just fireworks, the biggest fireworks show I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, he does it right.
And just a huge crowd, and it was just amazing. And then you look at that pathetic spectacle that Biden had for the inauguration, and you know, it was just everything about it was just, what's a word for it? I mean,
well, it was so lackluster. It was boring. Bill Clinton was falling asleep. Did you see that?
I missed that. I wanted to see that.
Yeah, it was while Biden was speaking, giving his inaugural address, I think they called it.
Yeah.
And there was a brief moment where you see Bill Clinton and he's just kind of like, he's nodded off. So boring. He put Bill to sleep.
You know something I heard today, and this is crazy, okay? This just goes to show who Chris Wallace of Fox News is. Chris Wallace made the comment that was the best inaugural speech he had ever heard. Ever. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm throwing up in my mouth. It's like, can you believe that? It's like, Chris, what speech did you listen to? Because that was the lamest. I mean, he was like stumbling through it part of the time. And not to mention, it was just a lousy speech. It wasn't inspiring. It didn't say anything about what he was going to do to make America great. Because pretty much everything he's done so far is going to turn back a lot of the greatness that Trump created over the past 4 years.
Yeah, Biden's job, and I hope everyone's clear on this, is not to make America great. It is to bring America down so that we can be folded into a global economy when the Great Reset happens. And I said this Saturday, and I'll say it again. It's up on the rockoftalk.chat. Listen to Friday's show with Eddie Aragon and Greg Zanetti. Greg Zanetti is, well respected and great mind in the finance world, investments, etc. And he really put it succinctly why it is that so many of our politicians are on board with this outrageous spending. And it's because world leaders years ago, the heads of the global banks sat them down and said, look, all of your countries are headed for disaster because of your debt burdens. You're headed for disaster. You're going to hit a wall soon. Here's how you get out of it. And there's 4 ways that you can get out of it. But the 4th one is the one that tickled all these leaders' ears, because it's all about revaluing your currency against a different standard and revaluing that standard, which in our case was gold. And if you look it up, it happened, and Greg Zanetti talks about this, it happened back in 1933. Yeah, anyone know really why the Great Depression happened? It wasn't the stock market's fault. It wasn't that. The president at the time, I always get the names mixed up. It wasn't Hoover. 1933, 34. Who,
33, 34.
wasn't I? Who was it?
Would have been either Wilson or
No, it wasn't
Wilson or FDR?
FDR. Wilson was back in 1912.
Okay.
So it was FDR. He made it illegal for anyone in the United States to physically own gold and to physically retain it.
that was FDR.
That was
So
FDR.
yeah, that was FDR. So he had everyone turn it into the Federal Reserve, and you got a promissory note in return. And after he got all the gold held by the Federal Reserve, he raised the value of gold artificially. That is what sent everything into chaos. But here's what it did for the federal government. It made the federal government's debt smaller because the value of the dollar was priced against the value of gold. So he made the value of gold larger and then the federal dollar smaller, and it reduced our national debt. It didn't do any favors for the American citizens, though, and that's how the Great Depression came about. So that's basically the option that these global banks have given all these world leaders is, oh, don't worry, if you just keep spending, 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 once you hit that wall, we will just hit the reset button, wipe out all country debt, and understand, this doesn't mean that your credit card debt gets wiped out. On the contrary, and Greg Zanetti does a much better job at explaining why, those of us normal citizens who hold debts basically become enslaved to the big banks who will be buying up all of that debt. And the only ones who win are the federal governments across the world who get their debts erased, not ours, theirs.
Well, what's going on right now, it's like we don't get a lot of international news. It seems like the mainstream news is keeping us from seeing it. But the truth of the matter is the things that we're experiencing in this country, and the injustices and the riots and the protests and all the other things, this stuff is going on everywhere because all the world's leaders seem to be in cahoots on what's going on, and they're all doing the same thing. So I think there's some, I think that pretty much validates this whole concept of a big reset. I think that is exactly what they're trying to do. And I heard Eddie talking about this a little bit today on his show.
Yeah.
It's what I've been thinking all along. But the people of the United States, I can't speak for people in other countries, but for the most part, the people in the United States, you have rolled over and you have given in. And what I am seeing just from personal experiences dealing with customer service and things like that, people just don't care anymore. They've lost their will to do anything better. They've lost their will to provide customer service. They seem to have lost any kind of will to better themselves, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like all of this that they've been beating us down for the last several months. This is the effect it's had. Plus, it's having the effect on children, which they're not talking about this on the news either. But
No, they're not.
the rates of children having anxiety. I mean, what 3 to 6 year old child should ever have anxiety? I remember when I was 3 to 6 years old, I was happy, I was playing, I wasn't thinking about what was going on in the world. I didn't even know
Yeah.
it existed. It's like, so 3 to 6 year old children are having anxiety and depression because they're being kept away from school, and they're being kept in their homes, and some of their homes may not be that happy. They may have really, really awful home life, and going to school might be the one break they get from that, to where they get away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And there are suicides that are going through the roof, increase in suicides. They may talk about, like in this state, they may be talking about, oh, well, we had this many deaths today, but they don't necessarily say it was because COVID caused the death. It's
No.
somebody could commit suicide and they happen to test positive for COVID. It's like, oh, COVID death. Everything's a COVID death.
Give the kids Ritalin, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Drug everyone. Or like in this state, oh, let's make the drugs legal. Let's make the marijuana legal. That way everyone can be drunk and stoned, and they'll just do what we tell them to.
Hey, I would not doubt a bit if that is the reasoning behind why that seems to be a priority. It's like we got all these other things where they're destroying people's livelihoods and destroying their dreams, and yet, oh, we got to legalize pot. That's just a priority. That way we can just get them all smoked up, and they won't care about what you've done to them.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
exactly, Pamela. Thank you, Isaiah. Yeah, it's well, one nefarious thing about the government getting into the drug business is it's really the drug business. They see how much these cartels are making, and the government wants a piece of that. The government wants to make money too. So, oh, great. So now the government's basically a big drug cartel. Okay. Yeah, in New Mexico, I don't think we're terribly surprised at that because, yeah. Oh, the young 9-year-old suicide in Nevada. Oh my gosh.
That is so sad.
Oh,
It's so sad. If I think about it too much, I'll have tears in my eyes over that.
yeah.
I think about when I was 9 years old, and it's like, I was a happy kid. I was 9 years old. I was out playing with my friends, playing in the mud and riding my bicycle and doing all kinds of other silly things. And
Yeah.
Even if we manage to come through this, the amount of psychological damage to these kids will be forever. They will grow up to be dysfunctional adults.
Yeah. If anyone wants to see something kind of scary, you can go to usdebtclock.org. Here, I'll pull it up and show you all. You can actually watch, if you want to get depressed, watch our debt in like lifetime. It's kind of scary, actually. Oh my gosh. But yeah, here we go. There it is, the U.S. debt clock. You can see there our national debt, U.S. federal tax revenue, revenue per citizen, how much we're still in the red, debt per citizen, debt per taxpayer, federal spending, federal budget. Pretty scary stuff.
I actually was hopeful that under a second term of Trump, that we might actually be able to reverse that debt clock.
Well, it explains a lot about why, even with Trump in the White House, they never gave him a sane bill to sign. They kept giving him all of these over-bloated omnibus bills.
Yeah, I mean, what's the
bill? And I kept wondering, I'm like, why are the Republicans being so stupid? And the thing is that most of our politicians know about the Great Reset, the rhinos especially, and they're like, oh, no, we can just keep spending. We just got to make sure that, our side gets a cut of the pie, too. I think
You know,
that's
I never thought about it, but that could be the reasoning behind why
Yes.
they don't care.
Yeah, and also there may even be a sense of fatalism about this, such as, well, we can't stop it, so if we're going to overspend, then we might as well just make sure some of that money goes to our states or the things that our people care about.
Well, it's kind of like the mentality, like, okay, let's say you know that you've lost your job and your finances are down the tubes, but you got some credit cards that have $10,000 limits on them. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I know I'm gonna have to file bankruptcy. I'll just charge them suckers up before
Right.
I file bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it is right now. Is they're charging up our national credit card. And by the way, if you all are in any credit card debt, I highly advise that you get out of that. Pay them off. You know those stimulus checks that we never asked for, but that we keep getting? Yeah, we've been using them to pay down our debt.
I never got one.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, if you're self-employed, and I've been hearing from a lot of people who are self-employed and business owners, yeah, they haven't been getting those, and they're the ones who need them.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But yeah, if you can, get out of debt, people, because once the Great Reset happens, whoever owns your debt owns you. And it's going to be mass slavery in the blink of an eye, is what we're looking at. And hopefully, I've heard some things about Trump looks like he's going to be helping out the Republican Party. I know, what's her name? One of his press secretaries is going to run for governor in Arkansas.
Sarah Sanders.
Yes, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
I think she would be excellent. I hope she does well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, you heard that there wasn't even an hour into his presidency, and Joe Biden had a "give me a break, man."
That's right. Give me a break, man.
Oh gosh, I gotta pull.
And is that even okay to say anymore? If you know, if you're, it's like.
Well, apparently, if you're Biden, you can
give me a break, person, or
Yes, you should have.
something like that.
Right. Well, let's see. Let's see if he did do that, because now I'm curious.
What's that?
I'm gonna. Here we go.
Oh, he did say that. I heard it.
He did. Okay,
oh, yeah.
let's see. Maybe it was a couple hours after his inauguration.
Yeah.
Definitely less than 12. Signing coronavirus executive actions.
You said the goal was 100 million vaccines. Is that high enough or higher than basically where the U.S. is right now?
When I announced it, you all said it's not possible. Come on, give me a break, man.
He did say that.
I did. He did say it.
Come on, you guys, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Before he can say anything else stupid. Come on, let's go.
Right.
Get him out of here.
Let's get him out of here.
Move along. Yeah.
Move along. Nothing to see here.
His handlers are on top of it. Up. Yeah, he got a question. He made a gendered remark. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Milk and cookies in the next room.
A gendered remark. I like that.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oops, gendered faux pas. Milk and cookies. Let's go. Yeah.
So good point,
I noticed today. Where's his mask? That is the federal building. Where was his mask?
I mean, he made the rule. It's like if you're on federal property, you got to wear a mask all the time. So Joe's got to wear a mask to bed now too, or when he's taking a shower.
That's true. That's true. He should.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure he likes his milk and cookies. I'm surprised he didn't follow Jill out to give them to the troops.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, did you hear what she said too when she delivered them? She said, "Well, these are fresh from the White House. What did she call it? Kitchen. I can't promise that I made all of them." And I'm like, "You idiot! You didn't make any of them.
You didn't make any of them. You got to be kidding me."
Come on.
How many? Oh, you know what you should do? Do you have the clip of when Biden is walking into the White House and the two Marines are standing there at the door? And they catch him saying, "Salute the Marines," because he's got an earpiece in his ear and he just repeats everything he's told. He's like a puppet, you know. And so somebody said that he's supposed to salute the Marines, so he said, "Salute the Marines."
Yeah. but he was supposed to actually salute them, not repeat what he said. But these days, he's so trained like a monkey to just repeat what he says that he didn't think anything of it. Yeah, here it is.
That's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Can you hear it? Kind of, sort of. Oh, here they come. And let's see here. Let's see if we can fast forward. Here we go. Photo op time. More photo op time. Okay, I think it's here. How are you? There it is.
I missed it. You got to really, it's quick. You got to be careful.
It's quick. It's right there. It's right here. We go. Right here. You see, if you haven't paid attention.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep. Salute the Marines. Yeah. It's like,
Salute the Marines.
right.
Or kind of like Parliament, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Melania was awesome. She was like,
it's like, oh
she
yeah,
was like the hottest first lady we've ever had. Face it. Oh, and do you like how? Do you like how the main? How was it? CNN or somebody insulted Melania, saying that, well, at least we got a first lady that can speak English now. It's like, oh, you're right. Melania can only speak what, 6 languages?
6 languages.
English.
Yeah.
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 6 languages. That's all she can speak. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And English wasn't even her first language. It's like, you idiots. Oh my gosh. No, Melania was, she was the first lady that the media should have been fawning over. There should have been glamour shots on every magazine of her. Because she's a model. Her poise.
In a normal world, that would have been the case.
Yeah.
You know, in a normal world, they would have been all over her for the last 4 years trying to get every picture they could of her. You would have had every fashion designer in the world wanting to provide her with clothing.
Yeah, they would have wanted
it's
her to wear their labels and their brands, and
exactly.
Mrs. Trump, can we get an expose with you? Yeah. No, she should have been. Oh my gosh, she should have been on the cover of Vogue all the time.
Yeah.
And she would have been if she'd have been a Democrat.
Right.
Absolutely. But no, she was so poised and just beautiful. And you talk about poise and confidence under pressure. She was it personified.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
She was. I mean, honestly, she was an amazing example to young women, especially who immigrate to this country, of what you can be and where hard work can get you as well. She's worked hard.
An example of the American dream.
Yep.
She is. And she, even though President Trump had a lot of money when she met him, she had already made a life for herself. She was already doing well. Yeah. She didn't need Donald Trump's money for her to be successful. She was already successful on her own.
Yes, she was already successful. She'd already basically made it as a model. Something else that I saw too, an article a couple days ago on the 21st, I believe. Yeah, someone asked, why are new National Guard troops still arriving in D.C.? In fact, there were, one day after inauguration, someone saw 4 additional buses arrive in front of the Capitol, disgorging more National Guard. And one group even said that they had just been deployed from Pennsylvania. But it also looks like now the National Guard's going to be staying in Washington, D.C. through Trump's impeachment process, of course. Of course. Oh, well, we can't have people beating down the doors to rescue their whatever. Yeah, really now? Oh, good. So Sarah.
Yeah, how do you impeach somebody and remove them from office when they're not in office? That's the question I have.
Well, and
It's
the
already gone, people.
the antipathy against this on the part of the Senate Republicans is growing. And
Well, I
Mitch
read an
Mc-
article about that today. Matter of fact,
yeah,
I saw that before we came on here. And
Mitch McConnell's not committing either way because he be wishy-washy. Oh,
okay,
good.
in Marco Rubio's words, he said, well, first of all, I think the trial is stupid. It's counterproductive.
Yes.
Rubio said Sunday, we already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire.
Yep.
It is. It
Amen.
is. And the funny thing is like Biden is talking about how he wants unity. No, what he wants, he doesn't want unity, he wants conformity.
Well, they keep saying that we can only get unity if we basically throw Trump under the bus. No. You all are lying.
Yeah,
You're going to get unity. Yeah, over 80 million people are possibly more are fairly sure that their votes were stolen and disenfranchised in the last election.
Yeah.
And you're going to take their pick for president. It wasn't enough that you stole the election. It wasn't enough.
Yes, we are going to say that. You stole the election.
Pretender. Yeah, your fraudulent pretender now sits the current resident of the White House. That's not enough. Now you got to smear the man that we did pick, and you got to grind him into the dust beneath your boot heel. This is what the left does. It's not enough to win. They must punish you.
Like I said in my monologue the other day on our radio show, this is a man that we love like family.
Yeah.
And we are really, really angry about the way they're treating him.
Yeah.
I feel the same way as if I had a member of my family or my best friend that was being attacked for no reason whatsoever. I would feel just as angry as I am feeling right now about what they're trying to do to Trump. And he's a man that loves his country, and he did the job because he was trying to serve the people and to try to make the country a better place for all of us to live in.
Yeah. But hopefully with enough senators, I mean, they need 17 Republicans to vote for removal of the president.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think so. I hope not.
No.
More and more Republicans.
Not even a Republican.
So here's the thing. Liz Cheney is already getting primaried. Other rhinos are starting to get primary opposition in their states. And you know what, people? Good. Bring the heat. Keep the foot on the gas pedal. Bring the heat. Let these rhinos know, hey, you don't represent our interests. We'll get you out of there. We're going to primary the heck out of you. So a lot of these senators know that if they vote to impeach Donald Trump, they are cutting their base. And the base will turn on them in a heartbeat. Yeah. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's right, Pam. That's probably the answer. We all just need to be reprogrammed.
Yeah.
And that'll make everything better. That'll just reprogram us all.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
And as Dave said, Romney's a commie-crat. Yeah, no, Romney doesn't count as a Republican. He's a
you watch. Romney is going to switch party affiliation. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's already been several Democrats who've switched party affiliation, so they'll just be like, "Oh, I could do it too." Yes, you can, Romney. Finally, your real colors are showing.
Go away. Good riddance. We will not miss you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Now, here's an interesting thing that I wonder if anybody has an answer to this. I haven't done any research on this yet, but from what I understand, Biden took a private flight to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration instead of the government sending a government plane to pick him up. Now, I just wonder what the story is behind that.
Yeah, there were some reporters saying, "Oh, well, Trump should have sent a plane for him." Pretty sure that was Biden's choice, or his handler's choice,
Yeah.
to take their own private plane. Yeah, no, I find that hard to believe that Trump would say, "Oh, I'm going to stiff you a plane ride," when he already gave express permission for all the National Guard that were stationed in Washington, D.C. to carry firearms, because he's the one who had to do that. And I was wrong about something on Saturday's show when I speculated that the mayor of Washington, D.C. had control of that branch of the National Guard in D.C. Jay Bird looked it up, and actually, no. The contingent of National Guard attached to Washington, D.C. is the only contingent in the country that is directly under the control of the President of the United States.
Well, that
In
kind
other
of makes
words,
sense because normally a National Guard is under the control of the governor of a state. And Washington, D.C. is not a state.
Yeah.
Yeah, yet.
yeah. But yeah, the mayor does, even while the mayor can, to some extent, exercise some degree of control over them, it's up to the president to both deploy them and give them orders. So President Trump gave permission for them to be deployed, and then gave permission for any guard troops to be armed while on the Capitol. So I have a hard time believing that he'd say, "Yes, okay, Democrats, you guys can go ahead and have armed National Guardsmen protect your worthless hides, but I'm going to stiff you a plane ride." Yeah, that doesn't really make sense.
No, I don't think so. No,
But you know,
I think Trump probably really hates Biden, but I think that he would probably do that because it's like, well, that's what I got to do. It's like,
I don't think he necessarily.
ready.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily hates him, but obviously Biden's Sleepy Joe and
Sleepy Joe.
is horribly corrupt. But we knew that anyway. So switching gears here onto Wuhan virus. I read something very, very interesting. This, let's see here. Where was it? There it is. This article, let's see, where was it from? The Associated Press? No, this was Just the News. It is John Solomon's outfit. Yeah, so the probe into COVID origins. Yeah, there was a scientist who's been funneling American money grants into the Wuhan lab where this came from. So yeah, it's Peter Dezak, or 10 scientists leading the WHO's global study in the origins of SARS-CoV-2, also president of the New York-based EcoHealth Alliance. Blah, 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 blah. EcoHealth under Dezak was awarded a total of, here it is, $3.4 million in National Institutes of Health grants over 6 years to study the origin, diversity, capacity to cause illness, and risk of spillover of these coronaviruses. And it was very specifically the pathogenicity of bat-based coronaviruses. That's awfully interesting. And yeah, no one in the media ever found that interesting. So EcoHealth in 2019 was already conducting experiments using infectious clone technology, in vitro and in vivo infection experiments, and analysis of receptor binding. Oh, really now? Might this explain why the virus is a bit different and tampered with? So yeah, of course, Chinese are denying it, and there's speculations galore. But if you follow the money, it's really all you have to do. It leads back. Some of the money leads back to the United States. Yeah, it leads back to the United States. And Bill Gates was saying, what, as early as 2009 or 2010, that the next infection or virus, etc., was going to be discovery was going to be a pandemic, and he's already been planning on this whole contingency thing and leading into the Great Reset. So, yeah, there it is. And people like to say, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist." Like, well, it's only a conspiracy theory if it's theory. Once there's proof, it's not a theory anymore. Now it's really a conspiracy.
That's right. That's right. Don't let people redefine what a conspiracy theory is.
Yeah.
You have to understand the meaning of the two words, and we've said this before. A conspiracy is basically a organization of people that work together to commit some kind of an act, usually a crime. And a theory means that simply you have not yet proven the evidence to prove that the conspiracy is real.
Right.
So saying something is a conspiracy or theory does not mean that it's bogus.
Nope, not at all.
It's not a theory.
Yeah, it's not a theory.
There's been a lot of conspiracy theories here lately that are actual conspiracies.
Yes.
And the conspiracy theory I have right now is that all of these world leaders are working together, and they're doing it consciously and knowingly. They are communicating with each other, and they are working towards a common goal, and that is my conspiracy theory at this point. And
Yes.
I hope to God that it does not get proven to be right.
Yep. Yeah, we will see, though. I mean, we'll still do all that we can do, and again, Rebecca and I keep encouraging everyone, and we keep harping on this, but it's because this is how we can fight back at the local level. Power is most effective at the local level. We need to take that power back. Now, as some of you may or maybe not know, the New Mexico GOP just elected over the weekend the exact same failed leadership that got us in this mess, or at least prevented, the Democrats from their big takeover. So, yeah, we ain't getting any help from the New Mexico GOP. We need to be putting our own candidates forward. Just put them forward. And especially since the New Mexico GOP, gosh, they drop the ball all the time. The number one, they should be making sure that there are Republicans on every single available ticket giving the Democrats a run for their money. And they don't. They don't.
No,
There's always multiple seats open that are unchallenged. The
I think that
Democrats
these
are just
people,
a shoo-in.
I think they get these positions and they really just don't put any work into it at all. Otherwise, what you said, like you've mentioned before, about these Democrats that are running unopposed, it's like, hey, well, shouldn't we find somebody that we can put up against them so we at least put up some kind of a challenge to them?
Yes.
But
they don't. So we need to be sure that we're getting people to run all over. And again, if they identify as Republican, that's fine, but they could just as easily be independent or just say, I'm a New Mexican. I'm just for New Mexico. That's probably what Eddie Aragon's going to be doing, because he's going to be running for Congressional District 1. And we've got a little news on that, by the way.
Yeah.
Eddie Aragon is going to be running for New Mexico Congressional District 1. The GOP is trying to keep him out of that because, guess what? They're threatened by him. He won't toe the party line.
No.
He won't make nice or play nice with opposition. Why should he? But, they don't see it that way. So he's going to be running, and he's going to need help getting about 10,000 signatures in order to run.
And we are going to be working on helping him accomplish that goal.
Yes.
And what we are going to be looking for, and we're hoping some of you can help us with this, is that in the coming days, we are going to have some actual information where, okay, we need to collect signatures that are verifiable from registered New Mexico voters. I assume we have to be registered, and we need your help to do that. So we need people that will will take it upon themselves to go out and collect signatures, whether it be going to rallies that I can't maybe make it to, because a lot of time these rallies occur on Saturdays. And I'm telling you, this is so easy. I'm thinking, here's a strategy I thought of today, okay, is that when I go to a rally and there's a lot of people there that I haven't met yet, and they're there, I set up my little table. I have my sign at my table that says impeach MLG. Set up a table like that says impeach MLG, have your impeach MLG petitions there, and then when you bring them to the table to have them sign the impeach MLG, say, by the way, Eddie Aragon, which also helped produce this document,
Yes, he did.
for Congress. We need to get him on the ballot. So can you please also sign this petition to have Eddie Aragon on the ballot? And that is a perfect way to do it, because you hang an impeach MLG and you have impeach MLG petitions there. People are going to line up to sign. Have them sign the petition for Eddie Aragon as well.
Now, I believe because he's from Bernalillo County, I think all the petitions have to be from Bernalillo County.
Oh, really?
They do, yeah. From the district he's running in.
Okay, all right.
So they have to be all Bernalillo. I'm going to talk about that. But yeah, if Pamela asks, why do they want to keep him out? Because the Republican Party has been ineffectual for so long. They're scared. And keep in mind, Eddie ran earlier this year to be GOP chair. And actually, it was in December he ran for GOP chair. And interestingly enough, pretty sure there was some fraud in that election as well.
Oh, you think so? I doubt that.
He went from losing by 1 or 2 votes to, let's recount. And then he was losing by 27 votes.
27?
And there was only like 130 some people voting anyway. So yeah, it's like, weird. But yeah, he may be looking to pay people to help him get signatures. So if anyone is interested,
yes,
drop us a line, email us at that protonmail.com scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and let us know that you would be interested in helping out, or if there's any other way that you'd love to help out with his campaign, let us know, because we got to get behind him.
Or if you want to go door to door, knocking on doors with petition. And here's an idea, Natalie, and I'm kind of wondering if we can make use of that software that they were using for the Trump campaign, where we were going through neighborhoods and knocking on doors, and they had it all mapped out on all of the potential Trump voters. And you were almost 100% on those. You knock on doors, and almost 100%. You would hit somebody that
that's a great idea.
That I'm just wondering if we need to mention this to Eddie, if we can get access to using that same software to go door knocking and collect petition signatures.
If we can get him officially endorsed by President Trump, that would be even better.
Yes. It would be.
But yeah, and I'm thinking that stuff did you get that through the Republican Party RPNM?
Yeah, they're the ones that have that, and I might even be able to get the girl that was in charge of the one office in Albuquerque. I have her number, Ari, and I might be able to ask her about that. Say, hey, can we maybe figure out a way to make use of that? And she might know.
We'll see, but just keep in mind that since the New Mexico GOP doesn't want to back Eddie and they're trying to keep him out, they might try to slam that door shut. What we need to find out is if it was really Trump's campaign that made that available.
I think it was.
Party. What you might ask her then is hey, so who in the Trump campaign, who in the Trump victory team did you talk to about getting permission to use
it? Was the Trump victory team that had developed that whole software thing, and it was nationwide. It just wasn't in New Mexico.
What you might do is contact the Trump victory team directly and bypass anything New Mexican Republican Party if we can. New Mexican, and this is not against Republican voters, understand that. This is the party leadership that keeps failing us again and again and again.
Yeah.
And we can't be pansies. We can't be pansies. And that's all the NMGOP keeps giving us are pansies.
Yeah.
And they won't let really dedicated people in who have some fire in their gut and who really want to make a difference. Yeah, why would they want to keep him out? Yeah, precisely. Why would they want to keep him out?
Well,
huh?
because he's intimidating to them. He is. Honestly, Eddie is very intimidating, which is exactly why I want him to get elected. He'll get in there
Precisely.
and he will kick some butt. And he isn't going to get in there and take any crap, and he's not going to roll over and give in and become part of the establishment. Trust me.
Yeah.
Eddie's not the kind of person that would ever become part of the
Plus,
establishment.
we badly
Natalie and I know him personally now, and we know how difficult he can be, and he's exactly who we want in there.
Yeah. Yes, Pierce is pretty useless, Pamela. I have to agree. Plus, also keep in mind that if we can take CD1 and flip it to a Republican seat, it will make the thin margin that the Democrats have in the House that much thinner.
Yeah.
And Eddie is the kind of person who can kick people in the rear and kick other rhinos in the rear and say, hey, come on, get with the program. You really think there, and I've said this before, any rhinos out there who think that the Democrats are going to give them a seat at the power table and maybe toss them some crumbs, yeah, you got another thing coming. They're after all of you. They don't have
and
Republicans.
the one advantage we have here, with you and I talking about Eddie doing this, we know Eddie. We've got to know him. Okay, most of these candidates that you have run, you have no idea who they really are, or how they're really going to behave if they get elected. We can tell you, we know who Eddie is, and we know that he will get in there and he won't take any shit from anybody.
He's unapologetically New Mexican, loves New Mexico, loved President Trump, didn't always agree with him, but then who does? But believed that Trump was doing the best that he could, the most that one man could do, and now it's our turn. It's past our turn.
Yeah.
So we gotta back him for CD1. Help. Hi, baby. we got to get as many signatures for him as possible, and then start putting forward people. If you've got a neighbor that you're like, oh man, they would be great in office. Hey man, our school board seat is open in this district for 2022, or maybe for this year. Who knows? Run, or maybe for city council, or maybe for a county seat. I've got a friend that I've been working on for months now. He was a guest on here a while back too, Derek Scott, and he's probably going to be running for Bernalillo County Sheriff. And oh yeah, so as soon as you figure out, okay, so and so would like to run, get them in touch with us. Start researching how to run. You guys consider running yourselves. I mean, at this point, what have we got to lose but our freedoms?
Yeah, because if you know somebody that is interested in running, have them get with us. We'll talk to them. We can get them on the air. We can get them on the radio and reach out to thousands of people, because we get heard by thousands of people every Saturday during our show.
Yeah.
So we can give them a bigger voice and help give them a boost.
Well, I've had a few people ask, oh, why don't you run for something? I'm like, I've considered it and I haven't discounted it. However, at this point, I think I can be more effective getting other people to run and getting their info out there.
Yeah.
Because not everyone enjoys the PR side of things. Not everyone enjoys talking to others in an open forum or on the radio. We do. So please look up your district. In fact, little homework for you all, little challenge. Look up your district, go to the .gov sites and see, okay, is there any seat in my district that is going to be up for re-election in 2022?
Hey, Audrey.
And then let us know. Hey there, Andralita
Hey,
Trujero. Is that your fifth?
Audrey's a good person to ask about the petition to get Eddie on the ballot. Audrey, we're going to need some help with that, and you connect with a lot of people, and you might be able to help us out with that. We need to get 10,000 signatures to get Eddie Aragon on the ballot for
CD1. Yeah,
yes,
CD1.
and I think you could help us a bunch on that. And by the way, Audrey, how did I saw you up at the march at the Capitol today. How did that go? Yeah,
because we could use a little update. So is this like her fifth or fourth permutation on Facebook?
Yeah, I think so.
Taking her down.
This one has held for a few days, though. It's like they haven't caught on to her yet on this one.
Oh, good. good. Yes. But no, seriously, if anyone out there would like to run for something, and it could be just you don't have to go for Congress, you don't have to go for broke. It could just be your school board. Do not underestimate the power of the school board positions, or even city council or a county seat, or a town council, something like that if you're in a smaller town. But we have to start taking power back seat by seat at the local level. And if you're thinking, oh, but I live in such a a small ward, etc., hey, still run. Some of those wards, you don't need very much to you don't need very many signatures to run. So you had about 60 people show up. Cool.
That's good.
Day.
You know, you think,
at the Capitol?
At the Capitol, yeah. I was watching today.
What was the fence like? What was the wall like?
The wall is still there. It's like, I bet that wall never goes away. I bet it doesn't.
We're not going to get access to our Capitol until the Democrats are out.
That Capitol building now looks like a military encampment.
Took a page out of Pelosi and Schumer and Biden's, their example.
But, I think the White House is going to look like a military encampment the entire time that Joe is in there.
Right. Oh man, or Harris, because Joe ain't lasting long.
Yeah, I don't think Joe's going to last long.
I still like the idea of the President Trump running for election in 2022 for House in Florida. Get into the House. Of course, well, if he gets in there, we'll be flipped, and he can be Speaker of the House, so he'll unseat Nancy Pelosi, and then he can impeach Kamala. Yeah, double fence around the Capitol. Gee, thanks, Lupita, governess.
Yeah.
And then of course he can run for 2024 still too. So yeah, I think that's a great.
Well, and the tiny tyrant, she also has those steel poles all around the governor's mansion now too.
Yeah, it's like, what are you afraid of? No, she's afraid of a citizen's arrest. So, someone's actually going to try to invoke a citizen's arrest. It's like, oh yeah, that would be awesome.
A little bit of kind of like a masked mania kind of thing. I had dinner with a friend last night, and this is the sort of argument that I have with a lot of people, and so do you, Natalie. But this is with a friend of mine. And so we got on the subject of masks. And he works at a place, and I'm not going to use any names or anything like that because it's a friend of mine. So he works at a place where his boss is making everybody there wear a mask. Okay, so number one, you and I have talked about this. That in itself is illegal.
Yes.
But I had a disagreement with him where he was saying, well, these businesses, they have the right to make you wear a mask. And I said, no, they do not. And then, well, the governor has mandated it. I said, a mandate does not supersede a law. Okay, there are already laws that say that a non-medical professional, for starters, cannot prescribe a medical device to someone.
Mhm.
And not only that, but the ADA, it's illegal to discriminate against anyone for a medical disability or any kind of disability. So if I come to a store like Costco or a store like Sprouts, where those two are the worst, and I come up to the door and they tell me you got to wear a mask. Well, number one, they're not really allowed to tell me I got to wear a mask. But if I also say, well, I can't wear a mask because I have medical issues that prevents me from wearing a mask, and then they go even further off the rails and say, well, we don't care, you still got to wear a mask. It's like, boy, they really, really stepped in really deep when they've gone that far.
So there is some nuance to this, because some people are correct in saying, well, for certain jobs, you have to wear a mask for certain things. There are safety guidelines, and for the most part in this country, OSHA are the ones who've codified, in a way, the guidelines for mask wearing. And so anytime an employer decides that, yes, there's some safety issues here and certain types of masks are going to be required, they have to follow OSHA standards.
Right.
Also, it's not wrong for a job to say, well, if you're going to take this job upon hiring, of course, as long as you comply with these and these guidelines. And masks can certainly be part of the guidelines. In fact, for some jobs, they already are part of the guidelines that are contingent upon hiring. That's fine, because that is disclosed in the job description and requirements before someone gets hired, and they can choose at that time to say, oh, well, I have a medical condition, I can't really, okay, well, then maybe this job isn't for you, and that's fine. But with all of this happening suddenly last year, and now this unconstitutional mandate across the board, and now with companies and employers being threatened, harassed, and pressured into requiring their employees to wear masks. This is wrong in so many ways, because A, these are applying to jobs where masks were never part of the job description nor part of the safety requirements. In many cases, the employers didn't bother to update the job descriptions or safety requirements. They just put out COVID-19 mask policies. That's not enough. That's not enough. You have to actually allow your people to agree or not agree to the new requirements. Anyone who has ever worked, especially in a corporate field, in a corporate setting, where when they take or when they when your company decides we're going to upgrade your job description or we're going to add requirements, you usually are pulled into a meeting with HR specifically about that update. I know, because it happened to me a few times when I used to work at a call center. And they update you on exactly what changed, what the ramifications are, and if you agree to it or not. And like in my case, I think they said, well, this is the new job description. If you don't agree with it, then you can remain employed for 30 days while you look for another job, something like that. So they can't just say, you got to wear a mask or you're fired. They've got to update. They're supposed to update job descriptions and requirements. And now, if you work at a place that did it the right way, that did it by the book, let me know. I mean, I would love to give them a compliment and an acknowledgement, like, hey, this company did it by the book. This company did it correctly. That's how you should do it. But no, by and large, most of these companies are not. And again, it's because they're coming under extreme pressure from the left and from activists who are calling and dialing and emailing and threatening that we're going to out you and we're out you as an unsafe business practice or report you to the Better Business Bureau and all this kind of BS. And
Now,
they're knuckling under. So we got to bring the pressure from the other side, especially
exactly.
as employees. And if you're an employee and you're subjected to this, you may have a case for suit. Check out the Healthy American because they've got some interesting info on there too, specifically for people who are in the situation of being employees being required to wear
Now,
masks.
what about this idea, Natalie? I heard today, I was hearing that apparently the employees of Amazon are now talking about unionizing.
Yeah, I heard that.
Now, what if, let's say the employees unionized and the union says, no, we won't agree to them wearing masks.
Well, I find it hard to believe that unless you have specific union leadership in place already.
Yeah, because unions just tend to be a bunch of
they like
liberal
government
idiots.
regulation because it
Well, I'm
means
not going to call them liberals because, once again, the term liberal has been
it's a good term.
redefined, and I'm not going to use the word liberal anymore. Okay, strike what I just said. We're going to call them.
Technically, we are liberal.
Technically, we are liberals.
We
Yeah.
are real liberals, meaning we believe that the government should be at a minimum. They should stay out of people's business, and you should be free to live your own life the way that you want to live it without being bothered.
So,
That's
by the
the definition of a liberal.
By the way, Audrey, funny you should mention that last comment there. Okay, so Christian patriots being persecuted. Absolutely. Okay. As a matter of fact, that is a subject I have taken a lot of interest in. And you are going to want to listen to our radio show coming up this Saturday, because one of the subjects of our upcoming radio show this Saturday is the war on religion.
Yes.
And we've got a special guest coming on our show, which I'm really excited about because he's a personal friend of mine now, is Pastor Tony Spell from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is going to be on our show. And we're going to have him on for a little bit. And he has been hitting this from the political legal angle for months. So he has been fighting, and his fight is a fight for all of us that care about our religious freedom. And so we're going to have him on our show. He's going to be kind of like a guest, and we're going to have the ability for people to call in and ask him questions if they want to.
Yeah.
And he's a really knowledgeable guy about both the law and about the Bible. He's really good. Wouldn't you agree, Mark? Very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Mark and I have both met him. We attended services in Baton Rouge a couple of times. And yes, so I'm excited about that. And he's agreed to come on our show, which I think is great.
And speaking of persecuted, Kui is still behind bars. I really like that he denied taking a COVID-19 test. That's awesome. Pamela also says, check info at DECIFE.org. They have cases where employers retracted mask mandates. Ooh, I like.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
I like. Okay, I'm going to definitely look that up. CIFE.org. Yeah, because I would be super interested in that one. And then Audrey recommends Pastor Caleb Cooper. What church is he a part of?
And the problem with Pastor Steve is just so hard to get in touch with.
Get a hold of. Unfortunately, he's as much as I do love Steve Smotherman, he's very much part of this corporate church thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in corporate churches, pastors are not terribly available.
Right.
And they're really hard to get a hold of. The great thing with Tony Spells is he's not one of those churches.
Right, and I've got his personal cell phone number. Him and I, we touch base from time to time. So, Pastor Tony Spell, I can reach him personally. We text every once in a while, probably about once every couple of weeks. We'll send each other a text. Hey, how's it going over there? And so we keep in contact.
Yes. Okay, and she said it's actually I can decide I will put this in our show notes as well. Because yes, I love. Oh man, I love this site already. Introduction to Vaccine Safety, Autism and an Aluminum Adjuvant in Vaccines. Ooh, I love it.
Cool. Send that one. Send that link over to
Yeah.
me in the email too, Natalie.
Science requires debate. Read the Great Vaccine Safety Debate, and yeah, inform this. So it looks like this site is basically about informed consent.
Okay.
Which is a huge thing, especially in the U.S. That's one of our freedoms. Is how can we make a good decision if we don't have informed?
Hey, Natalie, look, we've got Pastor Caleb on there with us.
Sweet! Hey, Pastor Caleb.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you for
Hey,
joining us.
Hey, Pastor, do you have a good broadband connection? You want to come on with us for a few minutes?
Yeah, because we can pop you into the live stream really quick if you want.
We'd love to ask you
join us.
questions and give you a chance to talk for a couple minutes.
That'd be awesome. Yes.
Okay.
We will.
Awesome. He never closed his church. Yeah.
Yes.
About that too.
Yeah. It's not just.
It's not a mega church. A great friend. Oh, that's awesome. So, Pastor Caleb, you can come on with us for a couple minutes. We need your email address, and we will send you an email link to click on. And then, if you've got like a camera available and a good connection, we can pop you in there.
Or you know what? I think I can send it to him on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. We'll send you an invite.
I'll send you an invite directly off of Facebook. Let's see here. Okay, added you as a friend and just sent you a message. It might be a message request since we're not friends already. So join us on Liberty Ladies Unite. There you go. And yeah, if you want to join us, just click on that link and we'll pop you into the live stream here.
Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be great. We'd love to hear what you've been going through. I know Pastor Spell actually literally has spent some jail time for holding church.
Yes. He had an ankle bracelet on for a while, as I understand it. But great thing about living at the back of your church is you can still, go to the pulpit and preach.
That's right. His home is on the same property as the church, so it's like next door to the church. And so he just walked right on over there with the ankle bracelet on and was preaching anyway. And he even put his foot up and showed everybody the ankle bracelet. It was funny.
Yes. We definitely need more churches to stay open more, and not give in to the madness. I don't know if I told you about a friend of ours, weirdly enough, in Texas. Well, it's Austin, so they're more progressive.
Yeah.
But they stopped going to this one church they were going to because in the nursery, what they were doing with the children, and they were requiring the children to wear masks as well, I believe, but they were putting them literally in boxes. So they had these cardboard boxes, with open tops, and they painted them to look like race cars or boats or whatever. And they would put the kids to play inside the box, and the kids had to stay in the box the entire time that they were in the nursery. That's teaching kids to be prisoners. Good little prisoners. So they stopped going to that church. I'm like, that could be pretty traumatizing for a little child.
Imagine. Yeah, I mean, I look back when I was a little kid, I couldn't even imagine that. It's like, I wonder how many kids are crying the whole time. It's got to be scary. And not only that, if it's not scary, it's like, imagine the kind of mental damage you're doing to them. Because I remember when I was growing up as a child, and I'm sure we're all like this, it's like you had little things that happen in your life that stick with you through adulthood. It becomes a part of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't believe that this was a church in Texas. Now, it was an Anglican church, and unfortunately, some of the churches that are part of a diocesanal congregation, meaning that they're under, say, like a bishop or the bishop's over a certain region, usually those churches are at a bit of a disadvantage because if they want to remain part of the diocese, they kind of have to fall in line with certain things. And I know that ACNA, Anglican, ACNA, Anglican Christian of North America, Anglican Church of North America. They've decided to go ahead and comply with a lot of these mandates in various states. So what that sometimes also means is in states that aren't as locked down, these churches still have to comply with whatever their bishops say they need to do, even if it's more draconian than the states they're currently in. So that's unfortunately happening there, and with some of the Catholic dioceses as well.
Well, Pastor Spell's outlook on this whole thing is that God commands us to go to church and to fellowship, and that the will of God supersedes the will of any kind of government, because any kind of government that would try to step on the will of God should be considered an invalid, illegitimate order to follow. Kind of like you and I are always saying all the time, that if it's unconstitutional, then I refuse to recognize it.
Yeah.
And
now, I do have to
very
disagree
difficult under a Biden administration because they're going to try to pass unconstitutional laws.
Yeah. Now I do have to just clarify something here. The Bible never command us to go to church as we see it. It always refers to the church as the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And back then there were no huge mass gatherings in a building, and church never referred to a building.
Right.
So what the Bible specifically commands us, Hebrews 10:24-25 says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." And I'll put this in the comments here. All the more as you see the day drawing near. So we are commanded to meet together. There it is. However that works out. And at the time it was, it's in Rome. Most of the time they were meeting in secret in each other's houses.
Yeah.
And I kind of foresee that, I think in the coming days, months, years, many of the churches are going to be driven underground. And
it's entirely possible. I think in the end days, that's the way it will be.
And we have to resort to meeting.
Many are saying that we are, in fact, in the end days. And I've heard a number of preachers, and I hope our pastor can come on with us for a few minutes and give us his outlook on this. But a lot of preachers out there are saying they believe we are in the last half of the 7-year tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of makes sense. We did have 3.5 years of prosperity. So
I'm always very careful about trying to pinpoint time-wise.
Yeah, you're right.
From Revelation, and part of the real reason with Revelation is, if anyone's tried to read it, it's like a bad dream, and it's really hard to tell what's in order and what's not, because none of it is in chronological order.
Right.
There are a couple of instances where it says this shall happen and then this shall happen. But as a whole, Revelation, Ezekiel, Daniel, they're not in chronological order. And the prophets didn't exactly know what they were looking at, nor were they technically looking at it in chronological order either. So there's always speculation about, what part of the end times are we in? And as Pastor, I think Daniel said at Legacy just this last Tuesday, he's like, well, if you go by the definition that the end times started the day after Jesus was crucified,
Right. Yeah.
we are
I listened to
definitely in
that.
the end times.
Yeah.
And there are some theologians who also think that the end times actually started when the children of Israel first went into captivity, which would have been hundreds of years before Jesus' death. Either way that you cut it, yeah, we've been in the end times for a couple thousand years.
Yeah.
Any day could be the day. Any day
Any
could be
day.
the last.
Well,
And
they say he's going to come like a thief in the night. So it's going to be one of those things like, ooh, that just happened, you know.
yes.
So hard to say. All I know is what we got going on right now is not just a local occurrence. It's not just a national occurrence. It is a worldwide occurrence. And I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, here's Pamela says she will email us a document she has about the employer mask issue. Yes, definitely do that. We would appreciate it
Definitely would like to have
very
that.
much. Yes. Also, one of my other verses that I like is, for where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I among them. We got to gather. And of course, Matthew 12:20, whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. So,
Well, and I
gather
think
together.
we've seen over the past year, we've seen a lot of scattering. And I think we've seen how most of the churches in this country have rolled over. And they have shown, the pastors of these churches have just shown that, in my opinion, that they're hypocrites, that they teach these things from the Bible, and all of these great people from the Bible that sacrificed everything to stand up for what they believed in.
And to follow Christ.
And
that's the thing, is if you follow Christ, he promises you will be ridiculed, persecuted, killed in my name.
Right. But it's apparently a little bit of ridicule was just too much for them to handle.
So why are we, if we're going to be persecuted, we know we're going to be killed in his name, and he even says, blessed are those who are ridiculed and persecuted in my name. Why are we afraid of a virus? Why are we afraid of locking down lest the state police show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, we should be the ones who are the least afraid of it. Legacy's been doing a great job of pushing forward and being an example, as has Pastor Tony Spells, and then Pastor Caleb here apparently. So yeah, there are churches who are pressing on with the Word of God, and they are not compromising, and that's the big thing. You can't compromise. You are either with Christ or you are against him. There is no middle ground. There's no fence riding.
No,
you
kind of like
can't take a centrist position.
I heard this. I don't know if you heard this one or not, but a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I think, and Eddie had some Catholic priest come on the radio show with him. And this Catholic priest, which personally, just my personal opinion, I thought he was a disgrace. Okay, he's talking about drinking and smoking. Okay, I'm sorry, that doesn't seem appropriate for a preacher to be doing that. It just seems. It seems like, and it's like, then I've heard people say, "Oh, well, let ye cast the first stone." Well, no, okay, I'm not casting a stone here. I'm saying this guy is a man of God that should be setting an example for everybody. Okay. And I find that something about that bothers me. But the thing that really bothered me is he was talking about how he's making all of his people that come to his church wear a mask, and how he's basically cutting it off at 25%. So, okay, it's like, oh, your church gets filled to 25%. It's like, oh, sorry, no, you can't come in. No.
Wow.
You are an embarrassment to religion. You are. It's like, if you're keeping people out of your church, I don't give a crap what the reason is. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I have a problem with you. And it's like everything about that guy I have a problem with. And so, yeah. Anyway, you missed that one, but you probably would have been just about as upset as I was.
Probably. I imagine Eddie was a bit upset as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'll tell you a little story after we're off here.
Masks.
So
I like this. Travis says masks are to dehumanize, prevent us from making that contact.
yes, they are.
Yes.
And they're to see if you're willing to give in and comply and just do whatever you're told to do without question.
Yeah, they're a test.
Huh?
They're a test, and they're also a
Yes, exactly.
tactic of social conditioning. You
Yeah.
are being socially conditioned, people.
Yes.
And the powers that be look across the land and say, oh, hey, we got most people to wear a mask. Cool, that means we can get most of them to take a vaccine.
Right.
Or
And
get
you've heard about the leftists out there saying we need to reprogram these people. They're already well on their way to reprogramming you if you've been wearing a mask for the last several months, especially if you're wearing a mask driving around in your car or jogging outside all by yourself. You are well on your way to being reprogrammed and dehumanized.
You already are reprogrammed.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You're a lost cause, probably. I don't know how I could possibly get through to somebody like that.
Oh my gosh. And somebody on Eddie Aragon today said that he thinks this whole thing of keeping our kids at home, their grades are falling, keeping the masks on. He's like, at this point, I think they want to keep us dumb. They want to dumb us down. They want to affect our health and our brains so that we'll stay a dumb, idiot voting pool. We'll just do what they say. They can keep us dumb and complacent. Oh yeah, also because of the weed and getting weed
Oh yeah.
passed as recreationally legal.
So let's see, they're blocking off your oxygen. They're taking away your free will. Free will. There we go. They're taking away your free will, and then they're trying to get everybody to get all smoked up and just completely finish off what's left of their brain.
Right.
After everything that's happened over the last several months.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely
totally agree with you
there.
Travis. Totally.
Yep. Well, and also not just answering to a political leader, but refusing to place a stake in politics and say, no, that's wrong. Even politically. Pastor Steve has talked about it before. He's like, people act like the church shouldn't stand for any of this and shouldn't have a stance on things either way. Like, well, gosh darn it. If we believe in an all-powerful God and right and wrong, then why shouldn't we stand for something?
Well,
why shouldn't we take a stand?
If the government is going and doing immoral things and forcing immoral, ungodly things on us, yes, the church does need to speak up and get involved. Absolutely.
If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Yeah.
We are falling, or have fallen, such as the case may be. But,
I'm going to read these couple of quotes that I read in my monologue from our show last Saturday because I think they're very good because they talk about the corruption of government and how it can get out of control. And these were a couple of quotes. I did a little bit of research on George Mason, which is one of the lesser known people that was involved in the writing of the U.S. Constitution and especially the Bill of Rights.
Oh,
and
yes.
He wrote the Bill of Rights in the state in which he was actually living, Virginia, but he also pretty much wrote the Bill of Rights, the first 10 Bill of Rights in the United States Constitution. So the one quote he said here, and I really like this, is there never was a government over a very extensive country without destroying the liberties of the people. And this is why he refused to sign the Bill of Rights, because, or not the Bill of Rights, but the U.S. Constitution, because at first it did not have a Bill of Rights.
That's right. He said
put one in there.
He wanted the government to acknowledge that the people had rights over and above what the government could give or take away.
So it may have been, if not for George Mason, we may not have had the Bill of Rights, or at least maybe not until much, much later at some point, maybe, or maybe not at all. But he felt that they were critical to ensuring that the government did not get out of control. But it's getting out of control now anyway, because they're ignoring the Bill of Rights. So the next thing he said, and we've talked about Washington, D.C., and you've also talked, you know, you've heard the left and the Democrats wanting to turn Washington, D.C. into a state. Okay, this is what George Mason had to say about Washington, D.C. He said, this 10-mile square may set at defiance the laws of the surrounding states and may become the sanctuary of the blackest crimes. Here, the federal courts are to sit. What sort of jury shall we have within the 10-mile square? The immediate creatures of the government. I thought those two quotes were really, really good.
Yeah. Well, that's... Oh, it's kind of amazing to see our founding fathers' foresight. They knew, they saw, they were students of history, and they lived at a time, I mean, they kind of watched, you know, vicariously through reports and papers. Well, some of them were in France, too. They watched the French Revolution. They saw the permutations in Great Britain and even through other countries as well. They knew what could happen with unchecked government. And what I have seen during my lifetime is a government, liberté, fraternité, civilité. Civility was the one that in France, like nowadays we say safety, we got to do this in the name of safety. Oh, you're in violation of people's safety. In France, violating civilité is what got you sent to the guillotine. And when they ran out of the bourgeoisie to chop heads off, they started to turn on each other and say, oh, you're in violation of civility. That was uncivil. That was unbrotherly. And soon they started to eat their own, as we have started to see this in this day and age as well. But yeah, our founding fathers had great foresight.
They were very, very intelligent, insightful people, and they did their darndest to write a constitution and a Bill of Rights that would ensure that this country could endure. But unfortunately, the level of corruption that has grown in our government is like a cancer, and I'm not really sure how we come back from this. We've got to try, but I really am not sure how.
Here was the key: the dumbing down of America. And I've heard this all my life from my parents, the dumbing down of America, and I never quite understood it. But now I do. When Ben Franklin came out after, I forgot what the event was, I think it was the signing of the Constitution, someone asked him, I think it was a woman who asked him, so Mr. Franklin, do we have a monarchy or a republic? And he said, ma'am, you have a republic if you can keep it.
Right.
And I think that when politicians figured out, it was in the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, the American people were too politically savvy. They were too politically savvy. They were too involved. The shoe shine The shoe shiner who shined your shoes could talk politics with the best of them. The man on the street corner selling the paper, the barber in the barber shop. Everyone was invested in what was going on with the country. And this was before we had the interweb and the telephones were on every corner. And somewhere in the early 1900s,
Night, Audrey.
a lot of the, oh yes, good night. We'll probably be turning in here soon too.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the early 1900s, a lot of political elite decided that they needed to fix that the common man needed to be dissuaded from following politics. And that was when politics went from being understandable by everybody, pretty much, to being so highbrow and became convoluted, so that people were just like, that's just over my head, and started to ignore it. They spent over 100 years doing that, making politics so highbrow, and then Marxism came into our education system and dumbed down the people, and so you had a system where people and politics were like this, and then they started to do this. And that is how corporatist, technocracy, the corporate oligarchies, the big banks were able to come in and influence and lobby and fund and buy our politicians and our government, because they're up here and our understanding of it is so way down here.
Thanks, Travis.
It took about 100 years. So, oh, hey, Kimberly, daughter of the American Revolution. There we go.
Awesome.
Thank you from Santa Fe.
Kimberly, we're probably going to be done here pretty soon. You kind of came in on the tail end, so
but you can rewatch it.
You can rewatch it from the beginning. We've had a really great discussion this evening. It's fun. It's been almost 2 hours long.
Yeah. Night, Pamela. Good night, Travis. God bless you all as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all.
By the way, before you guys take off, catch our show on Saturday on the Rock of Talk, because it's going to be really, really good, and especially if you like talking about religious freedom and the war on religion. We're going to have a very, very good show, because we got a guest coming on, Pastor Tony Spell, and he's been fighting hard for religious liberty, and we're excited about that. So come on and join us on Saturday on the Rock of Talk at 1 to 4 p.m.
Yes.
It'll be good.
KIVA 1600 AM, or you can go to rockoftalk.com. Hopefully we'll be on rockoftalk.tv and you can see us and hear us. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Just like we do live streaming. Cool.
I know.
I think that's
we're in the same place.
That's right. I think that's a great place to end. Like I always like to adjure everyone, stay free. Stay free.
Pamela, if you're, oh, that's awesome. Pamela, you're going to Idaho. I'm going to be going to Idaho next week. I'm visiting a couple friends there. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, even if you're on the road, as long as you got internet, you can put the Rock of Talk app on your phone. So.
Or you can play us really easy at KIVA.am. KIVA.am. It's a really low bandwidth streamer.
Yeah.
Basic streaming website. So stay free, everybody. In the end, if we don't have freedom, gosh, we're slaves.
Yeah.
I refuse to be a slave.
Give me liberty or give me death.
That's right.
You're talking to.
That's right.
And just remember, everybody, what I always say every week is resistance is not futile. Fight back, push back. Do not roll over and give up. Do not, because that's what they want to do. They want to beat you down. They want to take away your will. They want to take away your hopes and dreams. And they don't want you. They want you to cover your face. They want you to separate by 6 feet. They don't want you to get together in church. They don't want you to get together with family. They want to keep us apart. They don't want us talking. Don't let them do that to you. Refuse to comply.
That's right. That's right. It's not futile. Stay free. You all have a good night. We'll talk to you all on Saturday.
Absolutely. Good night.